Join me as I dive into the wild theory that the world's longest rainstorm lasted a whopping 2 million years. Can I figure out if this is just a myth or something more? Imagine being stuck in a rainstorm for so long that you start to wonder if the sun even exists anymore. 2 million years is an unfathomable amount of time, and yet, there's a theory that suggests the world's longest rainstorm lasted exactly that long. It's a mind-boggling concept that raises so many questions, and today, we're going to dive into the fascinating story behind it. Scientists face a daunting task when trying to understand such an extraordinary phenomenon. How could it have possibly rained for 2 million years? What kind of atmospheric conditions would be required to sustain such a storm? And what would be the implications for Earth's history if this were indeed the case? One of the biggest challenges is figuring out how to study an event that occurred so far in the past. We can't exactly collect data from 2 million years ago, so scientists have to get creative with their methods. They have to rely on indirect evidence, such as geological formations, fossil records, and ancient sediment deposits. And even then, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact duration of such an event. Another challenge is understanding the climatic conditions that would be necessary for such a prolonged rainstorm. We know that the Earth's climate has gone through many changes throughout its history, but would it be possible for the planet to remain in a constant state of rainfall for millions of years? It's a tough question to answer, especially when you consider the fact that our planet's climate is always changing. Despite these challenges, scientists have been able to piece together some compelling theories about how such a rainstorm could have occurred. One of the most promising explanations involves the concept of a global monsoon system. Essentially, this would involve a massive network of storms that circle the entire globe, creating a sustained period of rainfall that could last for millions of years. But even with this theory, there are still so many unknowns. For example, what would be the source of the moisture that's required to sustain such a massive rainstorm? And how would the Earth's weather patterns adapt to such a prolonged period of rainfall? These are just a few of the questions that scientists are still trying to answer. As we delve deeper into the scientific theories and evidence, one thing becomes clear: a 2 million year rainstorm is not just a wild theory. It's a possibility that's backed by some pretty compelling data. For example, scientists have discovered ancient sediment deposits that suggest massive flooding events occurred in the distant past, and geological formations that are millions of years old tell us that the Earth's surface has been shaped by water in ways that are hard to imagine. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from the field of paleoclimatology. By studying ancient ice cores and sediment deposits, scientists have been able to reconstruct the Earth's climate history in remarkable detail. And what they've found is that the Earth has gone through many periods of intense rainfall and flooding in the past. In fact, some of these events were so severe that they would have been equivalent to a global rainstorm that lasted for millions of years. So, what do we take away from all of this? The idea of a 2 million year rainstorm may seem like an absurd concept, but the more you delve into the science behind it, the more you realize that it's not just a myth. In fact, it's a mystery that's still unfolding, and one that could have significant implications for our understanding of climate science. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world's longest rainstorm. If you have any thoughts on this topic, be sure to share them in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about climate phenomena, I've got a video on the world's most extreme weather events that you should definitely check out.